Hey everybody, welcome to Houdini Hangout tonight. My name's Peter. We're going to be working on some Vellum balloon effects tonight. Um, this week is the Vellum week for Mardini, and we're going to be making an entry for it tonight, and just kind of coming up with something that we can post as a submission. So I was thinking about it a little bit before starting up the stream, and I think I'm going to do something sort of traditional as far as an effect goes. I think I'm just going to have some floating balloons in the scene, but I think what I'd like for them to do is, like, when they bump into each other, either like light up or do something like that. I think that might be interesting to do. Have some strings holding the balloons up, just showing some interaction between the different vellum type objects and things like that. So I think that might be kind of interesting to do. Um, I don't think it's going to be anything overly complicated, but we'll give it a shot, see what we come up with. Hopefully we can make it look really nice. Do some interesting lighting and things like that after the fact, and then go from there. So, as always, if you guys have any comments or thoughts or anything like that, please post them in chat. Love to hear from you. I'm certainly not the be all end all when it comes to knowing things in Houdini. Just love working in the software, and really would like to be able to kind of work alongside of you guys and see what your thoughts are or ideas. Just interested if anybody has better ways of doing things. Please let me know. And because there's always a million ways to do just about anything in Houdini. So I guess without any further ado, let's jump into Houdini and get some nodes down. Let me open up my viewer here, just so we're in a little bit better spot, and we'll start going. Sorry, my screen is actually a little bit further away from me than normal. All right. So let's do this. Let's make some balloons. Let's do Geo. Let's do, I think what I'm going to do is actually create this using like a revolve. So let's do a curve first of all. And I'm going to put this into 4 views, and I think I will draw it on the top, but in the front view, I'll draw like balloon shape. So let's do that. Actually, you know what? I'll just do single view, and I'll go into front viewport just so it's a little bit bigger. All right, so what's our scale here? All right, don't want to make these too big, but let's see what we can do here. So let's do something like this. Just kind of make a balloon shape here. Something like that, kind of balloonish. And let's see, what we can do then is grab these and just transform them so they are on the center there. Let's see here, active points. Just want to see what got there. Corner points, great. Okay. That down there is good. Let's go here. Let's go back into perspective view. Oh, missed it. There we go. Perspective view. Let's do evolve. And we can tweak this a little bit. Obviously, it looks a little funky. Where's my points? There we go. If I change my mode here, I can go into the edit mode. Then we can just kind of move these around. Now, I believe that's actually not going to be moving it. Oop. There we go. A little reminder from Houdini here to save my project. Usually just jump right in and forget. There we go. Let's do Vellum balloon. I'm going to do 2 views side by side, and then this way I can see my front view here. So I'm going to go to set view front, and this way I can kind of tweak this. Set this to be, I think I'm actually, no, let's leave it as a Bezier curve. That'll be fine. Just going to tweak this a little bit, get it looking a little nicer. That that looks funny. All right, let me do a little bit more divisions here. And in fact, I'm going to take the top up as well. Just a little bit like that. What I could do here is actually resample this first. That'll give me a little bit of a better curve to work with here, since I'm starting from a Bezier. Kind of smooth it out a little bit there, turn it into something a little bit more manageable and polygonal. There we go. All right. I think what I'm going to do here is, I think I'm just going to polycap this off. Let me just see here. I'm going to set this down a little bit more too. Just get a little bit more divisions there. Revolve, set the divisions in this axis a little bit more. Maybe something like that. That seems pretty good. And I think I'm going to bring up this bottom point a little bit as well. Cool. All right, let's do a polyfill here. Drop that down. We'll just do this as triangles. Close it off on the top and the bottom. Make sure. Let's see. Actually, you know what? I could probably do it as, no. There we go. That's what I wanted. Triangle fan. All right, cool. So that'll close that up at the top. And let's see at the bottom here too. We should be good. Yep. All right, so that should be good. Close those up. Great. I'm gonna set this back to one view. There we go. Got our balloon. And let's see here. What do we want to do? All right, I'm gonna do a. Let's see. I'm gonna do a match size and use that to put us on the ground plane with this balloon. So let's do justify the Y instead of being center. We'll do minimum. Then that'll put it right on the ground plane like so. And that should be good. We can use that then as like our, if we're scattering a bunch of these, we can use that as our origin for those scattered objects, and we'll be able to go from there. So I'm also going to make a string that this can be attached to as well. So let's do that. Let's extend this a little bit and kind of make this all into one object, or I'm sorry, like a series of objects. So I'm going to put a line at the bottom of it, and then I can actually use the offset of that line to adjust the position of this balloon. So let's just add a line in here as well. I don't know. I guess it could be about, let's do 1.5. Give it a nice long amount. Let's do like maybe 12 points. Let's see how long that looks here. Let's just template that. No, let's do a little more than that. Let's do like maybe like 24. Yeah, that seems pretty good. Great. So this line here, we've got this length, we've got this match size. One of the cool things we could do here is we could actually take this line, we could take the length here, copy that parameter, and then we could go here and offset, and we could paste relative references there. And so now, however long we make this line, it is going to adjust the balloon to that height. So just kind of a nice little thing that we can do there by setting some parameters together. All right, so I'm going to shift click these, merge them together. Since we're going to do kind of two different pieces of Vellum here, maybe in one object, I'm going to actually put groups on each of these just so we can refer to them in the Vellum nodes below. So let's do that. Let's add a group to the balloon. Great, that should work. Yep, got our balloon primitives there. And then let's just do this over here, and we can call this string. Great. So let's do a couple different things here. Just gonna organize that a little bit. All right, so let's first do our balloon attributes. So let's do Vellum configure balloon. Put that down. There we go. So now by default, this is actually going to work on all of these pieces, but instead let's just change it to be the balloon, and that should stop anything from happening here down on this string. And in fact, we should also set this cloth one here to be on the balloon as well. So there's two nodes that get put down. First sets up a cloth, a set of cloth parameters basically that get fed into Vellum. These are all constraints that it's creating. And then down here are the pressure constraints that are being created as well. I believe these are going to be working inside there to kind of keep this balloon inflated, and we should be good with that. So let's just go, let's add, just for kicks, let's also add the Vellum configure hair. We're going to use that just as like a starting point for our string. So let's do that. Let's do string. Great. And then let's just do a Vellum solver. Drop that down. Give it a second. And let's see where we get here. I think these are both just going to fall down. Yep. Actually, let me put a ground plane in so we can actually see what's going on here. All right, so they're falling down, getting kind of mushed together. Boom. There we go. Look at that. What a great sim. All right, so let's do a couple things here. Let's check this here. I want to make sure that this pressure is high enough. So let's go a little higher with this. Let's see if that keeps our balloon shaped the way we want it to be. Yeah, there's a little more there, so let's just kind of keep tweaking this until we get it to a decent pressure that'll stay sort of inflated for the entirety of this sim. All right, there we go. Getting somewhere there. Let's just make sure that we don't have anything weird going on here with our cloth. Let's visualize the thickness of this. We could probably bring that down just a touch. Let's do 1.5. Balloons aren't super thick. All right, so we got a lot of stretch on that. That might be too much. We can always take a look at that. Bend, that's pretty good. Don't want it to bend too much. And our hair, as well. Let me just look at, just want to look at these constraints that are happening here. So I'm just going to add a null. Just want to see what kind of constraints it's building inside of there. So this here is, looks like it's just creating constraints that are kind of in a loop like that. And you know what? I have a feeling it might be because of the way I made this revolve. So let me just clean that up a little bit. I think that might have something to do with what we're seeing there. So let me just check these points. I think we might actually have some points that are kind of overlapping here. So let me make sure that we're not running into any problems there. You know, let me put a fuse down here. See if that. Yep. Looks like it did fuse some points there. All right, let's jump back down here and see where this puts us. So, there's our cloth. There's our pressure. Still doing this weird thing right here. Sure, I'm not doing anything strange before this here. Size, balloon. Yep, okay. So that's all good. Just double check this up here. Yep. Good. All right. Let's see how that looks just to make sure we're not maybe a little closer on this. I don't know. Let's see. Let's set the stretch for the cloth down a little bit, or up a little bit, because the stiffness, I should say, because I feel like it's stretching a little too much. We obviously don't want it to just stretch like crazy. There we go. That's starting to look a little bit better. Okay, cool. So we still need some more pressure. So let's pump that up a little more. All right, cool. So I think we're getting somewhere with this. Let us do something here. We're gonna, instead of having the gravity be down, let's have it be up. So let's try that real quick here. We can do just positive. Since, you know, otherwise we'd have to be fighting gravity with wind or something like that. So we could possibly do that, cancel out the wind a little bit, or use wind to cancel out the gravity. That's another option as well. But in this case, we know that everything should be kind of going upwards. But, well, actually, you know what? Yeah, let's do that. Let's keep gravity on, just because if we want the string to kind of sag or whatever, we can turn the mass probably way down on the balloon and maybe up a little bit more on the string, and then that should hopefully do that. So let's do the wind at like 11 up, and that should go. Ooh, that was weird. Let's see, maybe too much. Maybe do 10. There goes the string too. Interesting. Let's see here. Oops. Created a little loop there. Let me just go inside of this and kill that so we don't have a nice big old arrow or exclamation mark yelling at us. All right. You know, never mind. Not going to play that game. Let's just do this. We'll do gravity at 2, wind 0. This way it'll just go up. There we go. Cool. All right. So a couple of things that we're going to need to do. We're going to need to pin this hair down to the ground, or the string down to the ground. So let's pin that point down. I'm going to select this one right here, hit enter. That should get a pin constraint. And now if we simulate this, that string should not move up, which it does not. Great. All right, so let's have this be connected here. So we're going to move this down a little bit. We're going to do a Vellum constraints, drop that in here, and let's glue those together. So let's do glue constraint here, and let's see what we can do. Actually, you know, I'm gonna just do this as a wireframe so we can see kind of where these constraints are being created. So we've got this this string right here that's going to be being attached to the other one. So let's see if we can do this. String, use that target geometry target group balloon. Then we can do the maximum search distance. I don't want it to go that high. Let's do here maybe like 0.1. And what we can do is max search points. Let's do like, I don't know, go a little crazy here maybe. I want to just have a bunch that are connected to this point here. So let's see how we can get this like kind of all the way around. Yep, and then if we take this down, yeah, that's more what I'm thinking we're gonna want there. So, all right, so we got that all strung around like that. From here, I'll just lower this a little bit, and we'll just have it be connected to like that part of it right there maybe. So let's see how that works out for us. Go here. Hopefully that'll connect those two together. Looks like it is connected, but it looks like we're stretching way, way, way out. We obviously don't want to do that. So from that standpoint, let's up our constraint iterations and things like that in our solver. See if we can't get that to not 20. Double check this hair, make sure it's not in some sort of crazy stretchy scenario here. No, damping ratio. Points. Great. So let's take a look here. What's going on? Put this back into flat wire shaded. I'm going to turn off the UV. Oh, look at that. I actually have that inside out now that I'm seeing that. So that might be an issue. Let's take a look at that. See, I'm pretty sure that there's a way to reverse this. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, I think that's it. Interesting. I hadn't even noticed that. Yeah, so that maybe that'll put us in a better spot. Great. Don't know if it really matters, but might as well have it set up properly so that the normals are facing outwards. This the defaults and add another substep in just to see if that gets us any better, if the substeps actually help. Look at what's going on here. Let me visualize this. I'm going to do maybe stretch stress, turn that off, and let's see what starts to happen here. Yeah, it's just kind of this runaway stretch going on here. Does this slow down at all? The top is like sucking in on the balloon. Interesting. Let's take a look at this hair. Kind of wonder if this density is too low and is maybe freaking it out. Right. I'm just going to kind of tweak some of these settings here, see if we can't get this in a little bit of a better spot. It's probably like one. See if I set this to -1, if that's just going to stop it from stretching altogether. Does not seem like it. Let me set these back down just to get this to go a little faster. Okay, well, we're getting somewhere there. My string isn't stretching, just the just the last point is. Oh, that's funny. That's a funny one. Um that. Let's just see if that helps us at all, if we reduce the rest length a little there. See what number those are. Okay, it's just 0. What is different about that? I wonder if it has something to do with the fact that it's right on the ground plane. Let me try that. Let me come in here, adjust this line. I'm just going to take that bottom point, just move it up a little bit. See if that puts it. Actually, you know what? I'll just disable the ground plane because it might just be that it's colliding and that's stopping it. So let's just disable the ground plane because we're not going to be using that at all. See if that does it. All right, so for some reason it's not calculating that mass there. That is weird. All right, so what I'm going to do instead of pinning this point, let's just try to take this out. Set this back. Let's see if I can't do a vellum. Just going to do another vellum constraint here. See if I can drop this in. Select just that point. And let's see if I can't. Target. Let's see. That won't do anything because it's not simulating. All right, let's try again. Nope. Still getting it to stretch. Darn it. Let's just try something else here. Let's see if we can't pin a few of them down. Such. Yep. I could pin them down. They just won't stop from stretching. Interesting. Let's just do something here. Revert everything here back. Let's do it as a string. Wonder if that will change anything for us here. Did not even notice that there was a string. Just grab 2 of those. Get that. See if that changes anything here for us. The whole thing's stretching. Can't tell if it's slowing down. Yeah, it might have slowed down. There we go. Hey, look at that. Guess you just need to change it to a string constraint. All right, I am going to... That is very interesting to me. I'm kind of shocked by that, but that's okay. That's life. Let's just set this to 10. I don't want it to, the string to stretch that much. So let's see if we can't keep this from stretching even more. Hey, you're just gonna keep fighting me, huh? And also here, I'm gonna set the number of substeps down a little bit. Hopefully that will get us in a better spot here. Oh, interesting. Didn't like that. Okay, so that substeps is definitely affecting this. Let's just up the constraint iteration, see if that can get us to a better, more stable solution here. All right, so what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to reduce the number of points on this. I have a feeling that that also might be messing with us a little here. So let's take the resample, set this up to like something like that. And then I am going to change the revolve divisions so that these are a little bit more square maybe. Yeah, just think something like that might be better. Let's take a look at those Vellum constraints that we had made, those glue constraints that were holding it together. Let's do the max search distance up a little bit. It's actually kind of nice. We're getting a loop around there and there, so that's kind of nice. Let's try that. Honestly, might have just had too much geometry going on in there in that top area. Yeah, look at that. Looks like we got some constraints going. Some working constraints, I should say. Go. Right. So let me throw in some wind here. Top wind. Just to kind of move it around a little bit here. A little bit of amplitude. Let's just see what happens. Let's up the amplitude a little more. 5/8, sure, why not? Might be too much. Well, first of all, let me go back here to this string constraint. And I'm just going to have it set the 0 point because I think it looks a little weird when there's 2 points down there that are moving around. All right, so let's do 3.35. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do 0.5 and just turn the air resistance down a little bit, maybe by about half. That should be good. For right now, that'll do what we need it to. So, all right, we've got our little balloon set up here. Let me just see here. I just learned something. Just want to make sure that this will work. It might. I will have to tweak this, but we'll see. So let me just look at these constraints here, see what they're. Vellum cloth 1. Okay. Just looking to see how these are named to make sure that I understand exactly what's going on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a Vellum pack. So what this is going to do is take this whole series of elements that we've created here in Vellum and pack it into two different pack geometries. So now I can actually work with these pack geometries, move them around, maybe make a few different copies of them, and go from there. So let's do a, I'm trying to think what the best way to do this is. Let's do a copy. All right, so I'm just going to do an add. Just make 1 point for the center here. 1 at the origin. Great. I'm going to do a duplicate. Let's just say we want 10 for right now. That's fine. So we got 10 points in there. I'm going to set a normal on it. Attribute create. Let's see here. So we're going to set this to n. The value is going to be 1. Let's try that for now. We'll do a vector. Got a normal vector. Got those. Great. Just do a copy to points to make sure that this is doing what we want it to. I actually think it's going to be sideways, so that is unfortunate. So what we should do is actually set the n, and then let's set an up as well, because then we can use both of those. So let's do an up. Let's do a vector. So the up is 1. This will change. Oops, not 00. That's weird. All right, there we go. Now we've got those up attributes going like that. I don't think if we turn this n off, oh, it still does work. Great. I was trying something similar to this last night. It wasn't working, so that's okay. Let's see, attribute randomize. We'll do this inside of a sphere. We'll do this with up. That is not doing it. All right, so let's add in the n like that. There we go. And then we can hopefully do this. Let's see. No, unfortunately, that is not doing what we want it to. All right, so change this up a little bit here. Let's do an align, scatter and align. We can take in points and put attributes on them. So let's do that. Let's see. So the normal direction is Y, the forward direction is Z. Great. The P scale, the orient is coming out of that. Right? No. That's right. I'm going to add attributes to existing point cloud. There we go. Now we've got those orients coming out. That's what we wanted. All right. So there we go. That's what we're looking for. A little bit of a random angle there. Let's do the normal, the forward direction in maybe Y and X like that. Okay, let's see. The normal direction is going to be Y, the forward direction. Right, so default is Y. So it's up along the Y plus axis. Understand why this is doing exactly like this, but that's working, I think. There we go. Do not know why that was so difficult, but there we are. At least those are all kind of doing something now. Still not sure why that one's way down there, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. All right. Let's throw a ground plane in here. Let's unpack Vellum. Cut these. Grab those two, drop them in there. Oops. Well, let's see what happens. See if we get our same situation here. Let me see if I can visualize the pin to target points. Yep, those are all there, it looks like, so that's good. All right. Let's see what happens here. Looks like we're getting somewhere here. Fortunately, those are interpenetrated to begin with, so I might need to tweak that a little bit. Well, sort of working. Getting close. Bouncing around and doing the right thing. Now I just need to figure out this interpenetration issue here. Do this -90 and 90. Hey, well, that'll work. It's not perfect, but it'll sort of work. Sure why these are acting so funny, but it's okay. All right, let's do this. Let's add a little bit more force there. And then let them go. See what happens here. Oh, you know what? I think that there's a way to fix that in Vellum. If you set something, there's a way to change that so that that penetration is fixed when it starts. So that's the only issue right now. Those two are like glued together. A little funky. Oh, that's fun. Oh. Don't need to add a P scale to that, I don't believe. If there's a way to change those collisions. Let me look at these point attributes here. I think there is a I think if I set the disable self for a frame, I'm going to say that that's going to do it. Oh, overlap self, maybe. Maybe that's what I set to 0 and it'll recalculate it. Yeah, I'm going to try that. What can it hurt? Let's just do a point wrangle down in here. I'll just set it doesn't get calculated until it does it. No, maybe that won't do it. Let me just look this up real quick, if you folks don't mind. Let's see. Vellum. quick Google did not bring me anything. Here, let me think. If I could fix this. Pull this out for a second. See if I can't get that to work. Let me see if I do this again. Attribute randomize up. Yeah, that's doing something a little bit better, right? Let's see here. What I could do, I think I have the answer. So I'll just do this as an N. It's this. So. Then what I could actually do is rotate this so that it's pointing in the direction of that normal. So instead, I could, let's see, lay it down 90. Oops, not 980, 90. There we go. Still getting that penetration though. All right, let's just see if we can't find a seed number that'll get us a good non-penetrating. Let me just see if I can take this down by a couple. There we go. Oh, of course. Of course. Man, this thing's just being mean to me. Jeez, there we go. Holy cow. Couple more start kicks. Can we risk it? All right, we'll do 12. Like that. Cool. All right. There's those. Should be else. Oh, and I missed that one. Of course I missed it. Never mind. Sure. There we go. Right. So I think what we could do here is possibly take some of these different attributes and use them to kind of drive the simulation, you know, drive the way that that's, uh, working. As far as like the look of it, we could probably use these like hit positions and things like that to create a little bit of like variation and different maybe color, emission, things like that in our shaders, and use that to create some sort of interesting look for a render. So that's all doing that. Let me up the amplitude on this a little bit just to get something more interesting going on in here. The two. That might be too much. Let's do 1.5. Seems like the pressure could maybe be a little bit more inside of those balloons, so we could probably up that a little bit. So let's get this pressure here. Not sure why that needs to be so high, but might have set something up wrong there, but give it a shot, see what happens. Just going to do a flip book here just to see how this looks in full speed. I think our noise might still be a little too high. Let's up the swirl size a little bit too so it's not doing any weird, like, tiny scale stuff to the balloons. So maybe up the stiffness on them just a little bit. I feel like we don't want them to be that stretchy. All right. I have one more idea here. Thinking maybe we could reverse like the gravity and have everything kind of like fall down at one certain point. Maybe at like frame 120 or something like that. Let's let this go for a second. I'm going to do another flip book. Those strings are stretching a little bit, but that's because I think we're down to one substep here. So I think if we up that, we will get a little bit less of that. All right, so let's do something here. So we're going to take this at 120. Let's make a keyframe there, go forward, and do a revert to defaults, keyframe that. Let's see what happens there. Turn my sim back on, let it go. So what this should do is float up until it gets to that 120 frame mark, and then from there it should hopefully all drop back down. And I think I'm also going to at that point reduce the pressure of them, so like maybe like almost like they I don't know, deflated or something. Let's see what happens. Should change it from being buoyant to just dropping. Let's see. Let's see what happens here. It's about to get exciting. Yep. Well, it worked. They're all on the ground. All right. So now the key is we need to adjust the properties of those balloons, right? So in order to do that, we have to go inside of the Vellum solver again and do a adjust, an adjust properties. I think it is Vellum adjust properties, and I believe constraint properties. Yep. Excuse me. Whew. All right, I'm doing merge. That Vellum constraint property. So the group that we're going to want to do is should be the pressure group, I believe. Let's just double check that. This is creating Just see what constraint geometry this is creating. Of course, looped it around somehow there. Cloth 1. This Vellum pressure 1. I think that is what we're going to want to do. I think we're going to want to do either this or... Let's see. Let's try pressure. Let's just try doing that, and then we'll... Oh, okay. That's what I can do. I can output that as a... So if I go in here, we're going to have these be output as pressure right there. And then if we come down here, we should see that there's stuff in the pressure group. I don't know why there's just one in there. Maybe because it goes all the way around. I'm not sure. All right, so we'll go inside of here. We should now see that option under here. Great. And what we want to do is... I think adjust the stiffness. Yeah, let's try it. Don't see anything else here. That would be what I would think it would be. So, okay, cool. So the activation, we can turn that on and off, so we can keyframe that. So let me just keyframe it a little earlier here, just to make sure that that's actually what we want. So I'll do an activation of 1 there. Set this to 0 here. Oops. So now it should turn on right there and set the stiffness to 1, which is way lower than it is right now. So let's take a look at that. Yeah, I think that's working. I don't think there's any more pressure there. There might be something going on, but that's kind of funny looking. Yeah, looks like we've got very low pressure. So what we could do is even set this way lower. Just double check that. Yeah, that doesn't look like there's any stiffness there anymore. All right, so I'm going to hit shift on the activation here, and I'm just going to move this down to the frame that I know I want it at, which should be at 120 and 121. Right there. Great. So let's play this back and see what happens. We should have some nice rising balloons until we get to frame 120, and then they should all fall and be pretty flat at that point. Oh, there's our gravity. Oh yeah, I can already see that they're looking very flat. Yeah, that's something, right? We got something going on there. Some flat balloons. All right, let's flip book that. See where that gets us. You know what I'm also going to do? I'm going to turn off the wind. The wind is pushing those things around like that. It looks kind of silly. So I think I'm just going to turn the wind off so it can just kind of come to some sort of rest there and not be getting blown around. So let's do that. All right. Stop the flip book. Let's come in here. We'll do the same thing with the activation on this. I'm just going to set this to off. Activation of 1 there. And actually, you know what we can do? Instead of doing this, let's delete the channel from that. Let's set the amplitude of 1 here, and then over a few seconds, let's set the amplitude to 0 there. Then that way we're going to have it slowly ramp down, and it won't just cut off the wind. It'll kind of slowly cut it off. Cool. Let's take a look at that. Let that simulate out. Well, hopefully you're at least learning something here. For some reason, I've been having a heck of trouble figuring out the normal position on the copy to points. I don't know why that is, but hey, sometimes doing things live with no rehearsal is can be a little tricky. So if you have a better way of doing that, please, by all means, let me know. Love to hear what your better suggestions for that might be. A way to make sure that they're not interpenetrating, all that kind of stuff. So, I think we can stop this probably at 192. Let's do that. Set the end frame here to 192. Hit apply. Cool. What angle should we look at this from? Camera. Is it really? Sometimes I forget about this, that if you have these other visualizations on, sometimes this takes way longer than it should. That's so crazy. Let me up this. I bet you this is going to take way less time to solve now. Yep. It's a lot faster. Look at that. I wish that those things weren't on by default in here, just because like the playback of this is so much faster. Like it's just full frame rate when those aren't on. So that would be something I would bring up to the developers, I think. Collision, does that slow it down? No, not really. Anyways. Oh, thanks. Hey, how's it going? Glad to have you with us tonight. Did I Human Element, did I see you posting to the Mardini forum? I feel like I did. Have you been putting something in there? I will await your answer. feel like I did. Let me look and see. I'll just look myself. Let me see. Oh yeah, cool, cool, nice. Yeah, I thought I saw you posting in there. That's great. My life has been a little bit busier this year than it was last year, so I have not been able to do one every day. In the mornings. That's wise. That is wise. Unfortunately, that is my work time, so I cannot do it then. But yeah, last night I was rendering out some cloth stuff, and it was taking way longer than I wanted it to in Solaris. I was using Karma, and I was like, the XPU and the viewport was going super super fast, and I was trying to render it all out quickly, and I was like, this is not working the way I want it to. So instead of rendering it out through the Karma node, I just flip booked it with XPU running in the viewport, and it was like rendering out like 6 a second, like maybe 6 to 8 frames per second versus like 1 a minute. So I was like, they need to figure that out, because it's fast enough to like resolve it well that way. Obviously that's a really dirty way of getting it done, and I wouldn't do that for production, but the fact that it can render out those images that quick is pretty remarkable. So hopefully in future releases it'll be even faster. But yeah, all right, we're getting some balloons going here. Get out of here, Scatterline. You are causing me nothing but trouble before. Let me just clean this up a little bit here. Yeah, I hope they fix that too. I mean, obviously it's, XPUs and alpha and all that stuff. I mean, of all of the major renderers, they're one of the few that I know of that other than like RenderMan and I think V-Ray both have a CPU and GPU combined renderer. So I mean, I know that they're kind of on the front edge of that, but hopefully they can get that in the next release figured out so that it's a little bit quicker, because it's too bad because it was taking so long. Yeah. Yeah, that's smart. I mean, so for me, I'm doing them just at, yeah, I'm doing a 1280 720 and doing them, yeah, they're a few seconds. I mean, these aren't super long. The one, I guess this one's longer, but the one last night was like a full 10 seconds. So um I do have a Threadripper in my computer and a 3090, so I have a little bit of computing power to work with at home. I wish I had more, but hey, that's life. But so that does help. But other than that, you definitely are at the mercy of the rendering and stuff like that. So, anyways, I was about to set up my camera when I realized that this was going pretty quick. Yeah, so yeah, I can walk over that real quick. So the pin is actually pretty straightforward. It's just a glue constraint here, and so what I'm doing, let me get out of my camera so I don't lose that. What I'm doing here is just simply setting up the geometry to be the string, the target geometry to be the balloon, and then setting some search distance, search points here. And then if you look at this in wireframe view, you can see that it just kind of created all these nice little constraints inside there, all the way around it. So it's sort of mimicking the way you would tie a balloon on. And so I did this all just in one balloon and then packed them. Did my copying here and then unpacked them, and then all of those constraints came back with it. I actually was doing a little bit of just training, on the job training this past week, and I saw a similar thing, but doing it with the RBD pack, and you can do kind of a similar approach with that. And so I was pretty interested to see that, and it seems like it worked just fine here. I didn't have to really do anything here. It wasn't like upset that there were like similarly named items and stuff like that. So I think it's just as long as these tags are set and the type is set, that's pretty much all it's looking for, because the constraint geometry is relatively simple. So yeah, that's how I set up that the glue constraint. It's just a straight up Vellum constraints node set to glue with the targets set. It'll do it either way. Like if it's just looking, you don't even have to set those target groups, but I did it that way just to make sure that it wasn't creating any constraints that I didn't want it to. So it's kind of searching for a bunch there, but yeah, the Vellum pack and unpack is nice because it turns it into just if you look here, it turns it into two pack geos, and then that way you can take that and do whatever you need to with it, copy to points, all that kind of stuff, and then it packs. You see here, it makes all these different packed elements. Now it's 22 pack geos. Then it comes back down here and it unpacks it all back out. So yeah, and it seems to feed in just fine into back into the Vellum solver. You can do that with any number of things too. Like if you merge in like separate streams of like, for some reason you're working on different Vellum things in different areas and you like need to merge them together. That's a way to do it. Cause you can't merge all these node, the three output dots here. You can't like merge those together and be a real pain. So this makes it quite a bit easier to do it that way. So the only thing it can't pass through is the collision geometry. It's just the two from there. So yeah, it's a nice little trick, and it works with RBD as well. I think. Let's see. Let me see if I type in pack here. There's a couple different ones. Yeah, there's a character pack, a groom pack, an RBD pack, and a Vellum pack. Maybe even some of these other things here, like a capture attribute pack. I'm not sure about that, but yeah. So they've really updated that with some of these SOPs level simulation tools, just to be able to work with those a little bit better. So yeah, it's a nice little feature. So all right, let's do my camera here. I'm gonna set this like it's like a wide angle. I think I'm gonna dolly in. Oop, jumped out of the camera there. Was not locked. You know what? I should probably cache my simulation. Yeah. Let's do a cache. File cache. And just call this LMGO cache. The reason I'm using this one is because I want to use the save to disk in background and use that whole workflow here. So it's time dependent. It's a simulation. I've got my start and end. Let's save to disk in background. That's going to start up that top network. That's so nice. And we'll let that go. Great. So that should hopefully refresh in a second here once that starts going. There we go. And it's starting to load. Great. That'll go through nice and quick. Do my whole simulation in the background for me while I'm rolling here. So all right. That looks like that's about where that gets to. Great. Just gonna, I'll wait for that to be done. Yeah, it's cranking along nice and quick. Man, I love these new cache nodes are so nice. Guess I can rename that. It's not going to hurt anything. Looks like that's running just fine. Perfect. All right. Color that. Another geometry node here. Just call this render balloons. Always nice to have, separate nodes for the geometry you're working on and then your render geometry. I don't think you usually want to have those all in the same thing. Let's do a grid like this. Camera. Oh, how do you expand that? Actually, that is yeah, that is new. Houdini 19 is new for that. That is the save to disk in background task now. So this actually under the hood creates a top network in here now with a geometry cache um, basically happening in here, which is super, super nice. So if you haven't seen this before, you get the versioning and stuff in here, and you have some different loading and things like that. They've kind of completely redid this whole node from top to bottom. And if you download the labs file cache, if you have labs installed, they actually have wedging built into it, which is pretty sick. So you don't even have, you can actually wedge in your cache node, which is just like so fun. You don't have to set up a separate top network, nothing. Just nice and quick like that. So, and then this, is exactly like what you'd expect, you know, tops to be like. You can, look at your individual frames, see how those are cached out, and then, yeah, plays back all nice. So yeah, it is a really nice new feature that they added in there. And you just want to be careful with some of these things. With some of these things here, like your time dependent cache or simulation. Like if you turn some of these things off, it will change the way that it's going to cache your. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, it is a really nice node, and the labs addition to it is really nice as well. So I'm just gonna call this geo room because I'm gonna make like a little back wall here to set up. So let's do that. Here, this is our back wall. Let's see, shading here, flat shading. Actually, you know what? Forget it. Let's just do a box. It'll be easier. Can make this happen real quick. So we'll just do something like this, that. Let's blast out these. Select these primitives, blast them out. Boom. Verse them. Obviously, there's a million ways to do these things, but I'm just going to do it this way. Do a match size for this and set the minimum to that. That'll set the floor up like so. I do want to get that wall a little closer though. And I think I want to take my camera and tilt it down because that is a little bit too high. So let's do something like that. Great. Good. And I think I'm going to do something. Yeah, I think I'm going to do like some light kind of going across it or something like that. We'll see. We'll see where this goes. All right. I'm going to do a null here. Type. Great. So then I'll do another one over here just to keep these little separate. Not render. Render. So I'm going to object merge in these. This is another little addition as well. I believe when you have a top network and you select something, you can actually select your active work item, which is pretty cool in this scenario. doesn't really matter because it's frame dependent, but it is kind of cool. I was messing with that. I was creating some geometry I was making some USD geometry um, for like a little library of elements, and being able to select those up there was really nice because I could actually like flip through them up there and see the different the different models that I was making. Basically, they all came in as work items, so pretty slick. Like that that's there. Maybe it was there before, but it certainly is easier. It just shows up now, basically. So I didn't set up an out node there, so let me do that. Do another null. And do I still have those groups? I sure do. That's awesome. That'll be really helpful for setting up shaders and things like that. Just gonna put another null here. Set this to be render, just in case I need to do anything in here that's rendery. Like these should have, well, I'm gonna clean up stuff in here. So I'm gonna do an attribute delete. And, I think this kind of a workflow is nice to be able to kind of separate some of these things out. This way you're not in your whole, simulation network doing, deleting attributes and things like that. That you did this kind of later in your process. So let's see, PV. What else do we want? We might have. Let's keep some of these things. I said I might want to do something with those. So force. Okay. I think those will be good. Vertex attributes. We can do the UV if we want to. And that should be fine. So that just cleans it up. A lot less stuff that we're, bringing into the render, and less attributes and all that kind of thing. Oh, you know what? There's probably a P scale on those strings. So why don't I do that as well? That'll be helpful for that. And then for the room, you can do sort of the same thing. That I can just do a quick UV on probably. Where's my row? There it is. This is probably the dumbest thing to auto UV in the world, but it's all right. I'll just do it real quick. At least it gives me some nice flat UVs. And why don't I just make this, just do a group for that. Call that floor. Make a group for this. Call that wall. That way I can set those differently if I want to. Could have done that in the geo, the other node, but that's okay. Here we are. Split it up over here. Okay. Let's see, why don't I set some colors maybe on these balloons? Could be nice to do. Do connectivity. I'll put that as I guess as a primitive type. That will take the strings as well, but that's okay. I don't have to worry about that. let's do a color attribute adjust color. This is another newer node that they set up. It is very similar to the vector attribute adjust vector, but it's all just color related. So you're getting all color elements here that are just a lot easier to work with. So point attribute for CD, that's great. Why don't we do a random from specific values? That's kind of cool. They got color palettes. Never seen that before. I like that. And so that's kind of cool. So what we can do for the randomization now is take in the custom attribute and bring in class, although that, now that I'm thinking of it, should be a point attribute. So let's do a point attribute instead. Hey, there we go. We got some colors coming in. They look very, very dim. Why is that? I guess they're just not super bold colors. I don't know. They look pretty bright. That's all right. Earthy. Let's see. Subdued. Oh, that's kind of cool. So the cool thing about this node is you can actually set up and down the weighting of them. So like if we want a little less blue in there, we could do that. Oh, that's another thing I wanted to do the group. So I just want to get the balloons for this. I don't want to adjust the strings. Also, there's color correction here as well. So if we did want to up the saturation on them, we could. I wonder if this is some sort of a viewport color issue for me. I wonder. Oh, that's cool. That's kind of a fun color scheme. Let's just maybe turn that down a little bit. I don't know. This reminds me of The Office when they do the, yes, I'm keeping this. Oh, that's good. I don't know if anybody watches The Office, but I love this scene where it is your birthday. I should put that on the wall. It is your birthday. Oh gosh, I need a gray one in here. Definitely need gray. Nothing like a good gray balloon. That is too funny. This one needs to be a little more burgundy. Let's up the saturation on that bad boy. It should be more like, yeah, there we go. Maybe instead of peach, we'll do like a really light, like grayish color like that. Okay. Now I'm just getting silly, but that makes me laugh. Oh, I wonder if it's because that's why. Because my sim balloons are on and they were what do you call it? Templated, or they were ghosted over top of it. So that's what was happening. I was seeing the other things. That's funny. All right. Too many of those. All right. We have balloons. That explains a lot as to why the colors were so weird on that. All right. So I think what I'm going to do, like I did last night, is make a LOP network. Go into Solaris with this. Never noticed this before when I put down a LOP network. Interesting. I'll just call that Solaris. It's red with my render stuff. All right, let's do a scene import. All. And let's just do a selection here. So we'll do render balloons, render room, and the camera. What are you unhappy about? That's fine. Let me make a new Solaris scene graph tree. All right, I'm going to put this into Geo, like that, into that scope. Then let's do a material library. A couple materials here. Let's make a Karma Material X. Let's try this, see if we can get this to work. Let's do a, oops, standard surface. Drop that in there. A couple different things here. Balloon. String. Wall. So, oops. I don't want to import my materials actually because there are no materials up there. Okay, the balloons have curve 0 and mesh 0, so that's fine. But for the room, I want to actually split it up by groups. So what I can do is import data. This by subset groups. Work. Let's see if I can select which. Can just do maybe floor and wall. Will that work? Sure does. All right. Those are the only ones I need. Floor and wall. Perfect. That'll allow me to assign these shaders that I'm making. Nice and easy. All right, let me actually, oops, that's the wrong one. Bring this up just so I can see that a little better. Set this back to my camera. There we go. Assign material. We're gonna have 4 assignments. And I'm gonna do the mesh. That's gonna be the materials, the balloon. Just like so. The next one's gonna be the curve. That's gonna be the string. Then we can do the floor here. And that will be floor. And then lastly, the wall. And that should be this wall here. Then let me do a distant light. Put that in. Set this to be that direction. And then we'll do a karma node down here. Make sure we are looking, oh, sorry. Make sure render settings are there. Yep, that's good. Let's save this and make sure we don't run into any major issues here. Yeah. Got stuff going on. Great. That's weird. There's no geometry on the first. There's no strings there. How bizarre is that? That's weird. Oh, to go inside of that. Let's go inside of these here and just see if we can't. Let's scrub through this. Be a little later here. We'll get some. Check out some colors here. Oh yeah, I think that's the problem. I'm not inputting those attributes. Let's try this. Cool. So I believe what I'm looking for here is if I go to my details. There we go. Excuse me. So I should have a primvar display color, I believe, and we want to pull that in. So let's do display color. Scene graph tree here. Let's just double check that those are actually coming in. I believe they are. Let me look at Houdini GL. Oh, no, they aren't actually. Oh, okay. They are coming in. It's just that they're they're not showing up in once I assign the materials. There we go. Okay. So again, that is the display color. So let's try that. I believe that's how I got this to work previously. Let's do display color. Also might be that one. I can't remember. I'll try them both. All right, base color. I think that did it. Let me see if this one does it too. Hey, they both do it. Okay. Either way. Either way, it looks like it'll do it. Great. Let's just double check this. Back down to Karma. There we go. Got that going on. Great. All right. So let's look at this material X. I think we're going to want some like transmission here. Say it's thin walled. Oh, you know what? I think those don't have normals on it on that background. Let me update that. Say it doesn't like that. If it doesn't have normals, it does not. Those normals in, make sure they're going in the right direction. I saw them in the corner there that they were. Hey, great! Thanks for joining me tonight, Human. I don't know how long ago you sent that. Hopefully not too long ago. But yeah, it's great having you chatting. And yeah, hopefully those tips are helpful. Good luck with the rest of Mardini too. Nice talking to you. Oh, I know why. Because this isn't getting any light on it. That's actually why it's dark. So let's just do that like so. Just gonna up the angle of this a little bit just to soften that up. Let's also do a dome light in here as well. That one's all white. Let's do something interesting. I don't know what to use. Let's see, go into my resources. I got some HDRIs in here. This might be outside. I don't know. See what that's like. Sure. Why not? Let's give it a little. Outside feeling like that. Great. Let's keep messing with this a little bit more here. Thin walled. Got our base color. Let's put this into the transmission color as well. Give it a little bit of roughness there. Just playing around with this, seeing what our different, seeing what just some of these things are gonna do for us. Maybe we do that and then do, let's see. It's an adjustment. There we go. Just V-adjust. Let's see. Could just do this. Bring saturation down a little bit here. And that as well. Let's see. There should be, I think there was a curve just in here. Guess that's not gonna, that's not a curve. What am I doing here? Stop it. I'm not super familiar with all this Material X stuff, but it is cool, so I'm gonna play around with it. It's crazy. What's going on there? That's probably what I want. See if I can. Oh, yeah. Specular roughness is really driving that. Interesting. Let's check and see if this thin walled is actually doing anything good for me. Not so much. Let me actually make sure that I have normals on here. So I might not. Just realizing that I don't. I did not have any normals on there, so I wonder if that's going to have any impact on this. Bet you will a little bit. This is what I want instead. Maybe I want thin film. No, that's going to do like an oily thing, isn't it? Yeah, I don't want that. Let's see what else we got here. What else do we got? I think that's where we'll leave that part. Let's see. These strings we need to tweak a bit. I believe that is going to be in here. Geometry and shading. Let's see. I am going to. I think I can quickly see the P scale on these. Yep, sure can. So let's do this. Just gonna real quick write out a new P scale here because I think we are a little too big. So let's do this on the string. I have this nice P scale preview from AElib. Just give this a nice small amount, maybe something like that. Bet you that's going to make those a lot thinner. Oh, it also made that much smaller as well. That is very strange. Why did it do that? Ah, I see. it's setting the default size there. I'm going to do that because that seems to not be doing what I'd like for it to do. It's bringing those in as points now. Oh, I know why. I know why. Because I have this set. Should be there. That's the problem. Nothing else. Just had that in there. Being goofy. This could probably even be smaller. Let me adjust this one more time. Let's do this to half that size. Perfect. Nice thin strings. Let's go in here, material library, string. Just making sure that those are working. I don't think I really want to do too much with that. Let's just make them a little darker. They don't need to be so bright. Now I'm confused. Set them in a weird way here. Yep, flat ribbons. Let's do rounded curves instead. So we shouldn't have any specular on those. There we go. That's a little bit of specular, maybe a bunch of roughness. Probably like 0.606. Could give it a little bit more specular, I guess. Sure. All right. Just getting blasted with color, I guess, there. All right. Let's turn these down a little bit. That so it's not highlighting it anymore. Let's turn off those, get a better sense of what's going on here. Oh. Be a little brighter. Great. The wall. The wall, the wall, the wall. What should we do for the wall? Maybe that's just going to be a normal kind of thing here. Let's up the specular roughness on it. Let's even turn it maybe even a little brighter white. Oh, I see. We don't have those coming in anymore. Those two groups. Let's just double check that. Yep, because we're way up there. I should set that to output instead, but that's okay. For some reason, it's not seeing the floor and the wall. Why is that? just do some. Okay, well, it sees that one. Yep. It doesn't see that one for some reason. Why is it not seeing the wall? That is bizarre. Strange. Oh, that's okay. We can just leave. I'm not gonna bother me. We can just leave it the way it is. Let's see. So the floor is the floor. The floor is the one that's actually working. So if we set that, yeah, it is working. Lovely. All right. So let's see what I want to do with that there. See what kind of textures I've got. Maybe do that. What's this? Yeah, that's kind of cool. Let's do that. Why not? Go to my textures folder here. Concrete, dirty concrete, diffuse. This color. Interesting. All right. Just going to rebuild this because it does not seem to like that I did it the way I did it. So that's fine. Let's just change that. So instead of doing it this way, let's do a grid. One grid here for the floor. Second grid, like so. And I'm going to do match size. This we can do there. I get out of this camera. So I can set the justify. What? Okay, so I want to translate it. Justify y minimum. That's right. I'll just do center, and then we'll do maximum. So I want it to go back like that. Great. Looks great. And we can do this, this, just using that match size to kind of give me the ability to just kind of quickly align those two things. We need, well, we're gonna add normals I think in a second here. Render room. Yep, this adds the normals. There's the auto UV. Great. So this will just change. Let me just do it this way. I will do this as a group here and do this one should be the wall. Yep. And this one should be the floor. If you look there, it actually updated that. That's my scene graph tree from Solaris. So that's actually already flowed all the way down here. Created my auto UVs, normal, out into the render. All right, let's see if that worked. Can't promise it will, but let's see. Look at that. We got stuff going on now. Still can't find the wall for some reason. I don't know why, but... Oh, because I put... I put the material path in the wrong spot. That's why. Dummy. Sometimes you just make really silly mistakes like that, you know? All right, let's do some quick floor stuff here. So that is our diffuse. Let's make another one for our roughness. You know what we might actually want to do? We might actually want to do... Well, let's leave it that way for right now. All right, so then this is going to be our rough. This will be our normal, I guess. Let's do that. Oh, you know what? This needs to be, instead of color, this could be a... That should be a float. There we go. A little bit nicer. At least it's just the right thing. It's not trying to read it out some weird way. The last thing that I can do here is grab one more of these. See if I can do displacement. Oops. That's not what I meant to do. I think this should work this way. We'll see in a second. Displacement, like that. Set this to float. Start this render again. Guess we'll see. See if this likes it or not. Well, it definitely displayed. Oh man, that is a big displacement. Just a real little bit, something like that. And let's actually... Let's just do this. Let's do a... Let's desaturate this normal a little bit. It'll just make the effect a little less. feel like it's a little on the strong side there. See, that's actually another one that I could use, which would be remap. Yeah. Nope. Range. Yeah. Set as a gamma. I don't know if we're getting a whole lot out of this displacement here. I'm just going to get rid of it. I don't think it's really worth it. Fortunate. It looks like that doesn't refresh very well. I'm going to tweak some of these values here just to kind of get this where I want them. Set that to 5. Let me just make sure my sampling is good here and we don't have any weird limits going on or anything. Neat. All right, so I think we're getting pretty close here. Let's see what else we can do with this wall. I don't think we want it to be completely white. So it looks a little strange there. Sure what to do with that right now, but let's just try something else. Switch this over to the XPU engine, see if we get anything drastically different. Hopefully not. ground is different. Hey. Hmm. All right. Well, the other thing I wanted to do is do like a light blocker up here. That would kind of live up in scene somewhere over here. And just trying to, how do I want to do that exactly? Let's see. I could probably do a grid. I think that's going to make a SOP create. Sure will. I can actually use that to my advantage. So if I bring this up and let's see, rotate it this way, like so. Go inside of this here. I'm going to make the grid a little bit longer that way. Actually, in general, let's just make it. Nope. That was way too many. All right. And then what I'm going to do is just select some of these. Let's go right now. That was weird. It's like that. Let's just take like some strips of this. It's the That's weird. Don't know why I needed that merge in there. Pretty strange. All right. So now we got some strips. Let's go up a level here. That should reload those in any second now. There we go. So what I could do now is scale them. Nope, not that axis. Let's do it in this axis here. Going to go back in. Instead of doing this, let's do those. And let's see, group by range. Select one of one. So we're going to want it to do, let's see if we do like one of, that will help us. Yep. So let's sort them in primitive sort by Z. Hopefully that will help us. All right. Change of plan. Let's do this. We'll just do size of 1. Oh, wrong one. Size of 1. Do that. Great. I'm gonna duplicate it. There's always a million ways to do things in Houdini, so I am just going to change it up. Make sure I get this the way I want it. Great. Now I could just make a bunch of these. And match size here. This will do some nice stuff for me. I can center it. I can also have the target size be 10 like that. And then I can scale it to fit, but not in a uniform scale. So now I should have nice long strips of that. Set this back to 1. There we go. I could scale it in this axis even more. Go through the camera. Oh, hello. Camera. There we go. This up so we're not seeing it in the shot here. Hopefully. Oh, no, still seeing it a little bit there. Contrast there. Sharpen shadows up a bit more. By reducing the angle. And let's see if we can't just translate this a little bit to get a light hitting kind of in the middle there. So that when we're in the middle here, they're getting, a nice amount of light. Cool. All right. I'm liking this ground less and less, so let's tweak that one more time. So let's do the floor as a different thing. Let's go to pavers. Shot. Okay. It's somewhere here. Let's try some of these other marbles that I've got downloaded. too white, one could say. Did I pick the same one? I probably did, didn't I? Marble 9, marble 8, is that the one? Interesting. Sure, there's more marble textures where this came from, but let's see what this last one is. Mm. Mm. Does that look like when it hits the ground? Mm. I think 9. I think it's going to be 8. That's my guess. Let's take a look at this. Yep. I think that's going to be it. So let's do that. Stone, marble 8. This is roughness. That's cool. A little more glossiness. Let's get the normal for that as well. It's interesting. I think that's the normals from the ground that we had before. Let's see. I'm not sure 100% if it is, but looks like it might be. No. It's pretty cool. Let's see. See if we can't do some displacement here and see if that gives us anything. It's not going to be happy about that, so let's grab displacement here. Oh, that's crazy looking. Whoa, that is crazy looking. I think I want that. Yeah, that's doing some crazy stuff. No, no, thank you. Startup time should be significantly less as well. I think I'm going to add some more light in here. Let's see if I can't push in a little bit more fill light there. Yeah, that's maybe better. Let's turn maybe the distant light down just. Let's actually see what happens if I rotate this. Better dome light. Let's try something else here. Try something more like in a field. Confused by where these stripes are going, though, like how that's exactly happening. Because they look. Oh, I see. They're reflecting off. I see. It's like, how exactly is that working? But that's reflecting off the ground, and then we're getting the shadow that way. Yep, gotcha. Just a little confusing to me. All right, let's do one more light here. Gonna do like a little light from over here, maybe like some sort of key light. So let's do light, area light. I can just see what I'm doing here. And let's turn it this way. Scale it up quite a bit. Just put it over there. What I think I'm going to do, I think I'm going to adjust the specular and see where that's coming off of these here. There we go. Interesting little highlight there. Maybe we do this. Maybe we just make it kind of like a warmer light hitting it from over there. Let's see where this goes here at the end. Oh, you know what I did not do here? I could probably subdivide this a little bit at the end there just to clean up this. Yeah, clean that up a little there. Let's just do a subdivide. Should be fine. I can type, man. Get too late. Yeah, one should be fine. At least I'll clean it up a little bit. Yeah, probably fast enough. Yep, there we go. All right. I think we're ready to do some rendering here. So I think this is where I'm end for today. Thanks for joining me for the Hangout for the second day of the Vellum week. I unfortunately won't be able to stream again till Friday just due to life happening. So keep an eye out on Twitter if you're interested in following along with what we're doing here on the channel. And yeah, thanks for joining me. Thanks for putting your comments in the chat. And hopefully we'll see you next time. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a good night.